Hi. I was browsing the internet today, as I often do, and I came across this video from a YouTuber called Josh Pieter. It's really more of a documentary than a YouTube video, but what it contains is absolutely shocking. It's called I Slept with 100 Men in One Day. I'll link it in the description if you want to watch it. I highly recommend going to watch it because it's harrowing. But it basically shows Josh Pieter following this girl called Lily. Her full name is Lily Phillips, and she makes adult content on the internet. And in this video, Josh basically follows her as she sets out on her plan to sleep with 100 men in one day. At first, you kind of think that it might be a hoax, but as you go on to watch the video, you realise that Lily did sleep with 100 men in one day.
Lily Phillips, and today I'm getting ran through by 100 guys.
Josh's video shows the before, a little bit of during, and also the after. And and it seems all of YouTube, found this video extremely sad. It really is deeply sad, shocking, and frankly, in my opinion, heartbreaking. And my response to this video was so strong that I'm not going to lie to you guys, I actually did shed a tear while I was watching it, which I know might sound a little bit dramatic, but if you watch it, I think you'll get where I'm coming from. There is something about what happens in that video that is like, I don't know, it's just kind of painfully wrong. It's kind of painfully shocking. I was really shocked by my own response. I'm a pretty liberal, central left kind of person, for the most part, and the last thing I would have thought of myself as is a slut shamer. And I was so curious when I watched this video, why do I feel so strongly that this is just absolutely wrong? I feel like somebody needs to lean into the video and say to Lily, oh my god, what the hell are you doing? And I did question myself, am I just being judgmental? Am I just being a slut shamer? Isn't it kind of a pro-feminist act for Lily to do this? She's exercising her freedom as a woman. She can do whatever she wants, right? And yet when I watched the content, I knew in my heart that this was a bad, wrong thing that was happening in front of my eyes. And all the people in the YouTube comments obviously agree.
No one, including Lily's team of assistants, seemed to have much of a plan in place for the day.
I don't know what's going on. No, there's a lot of forms this time. The admin side of things is crazy.
Having had their IDs checked and release forms signed in order to allow publication on OnlyFans, 6 men sat anxiously on a sofa, waiting for their turn to have sex with Lily.
But I wanted to question myself. How can I be so sure that this is wrong, whilst also maintaining my firm belief that women should be allowed to do whatever they want with their bodies? The two things just don't really seem to mesh, and I really wanted to talk about it, so let's get into it. For a small background on Lily Phillips, in case you don't know anything about her, she's a 23-year-old English YouTuber. She's an OnlyFans model and an adult entertainer. Lily describes herself as...
People call me anything. Star, escort, OnlyFans girl, anything really, I don't really care. It's not like a bother to me.
From what I can see online, she was born to relatively wealthy parents in Derby in the UK, which is a lovely part of England, and her parents appear to have owned a cleaning company, so I don't think money was too tight when she was growing up. She started on YouTube posting fashion content, but then when she went to university, she quickly realised that there was money to be made, not only on OnlyFans, but also generally in sex work. And she's absolutely struck gold and been very successful.
I just thought I might just make like a couple £100, can get a few rounds of drinks in, stuff like that, just helps me out a little bit while I'm at university.
Sure.
I didn't think it would turn into like my whole career, but I think as soon as I started on the platform, I kind of realised, I guess, how much money you can make and also just how much I loved it. I was just like, why am I doing a whole degree?
Her attitude to her work seems kind of blasé. There's a bit at the beginning of the video where she's making Josh, who's the guy who made the documentary, a cup of tea, and she jokes.
You know, I don't drink tea.
Yeah, oh really?
No, so this is probably going to taste like shit because I don't really know how to make it, but just good for one thing, me, honestly.
Now, this is clearly said tongue-in-cheek, but it does kind of still give us an idea of how Lily might feel about herself. The fact that she says this kind of alludes to the fact that she knows that that's how people think of her, and maybe that's how she thinks of herself. She's young and pretty, she seems polite, she has a nice friendly countenance, and she seems like a nice girl. On TikTok, she has over 250,000 followers, and she posts pretty provocative, candid videos about the kind of adult content that she makes.
Been absolutely ruined. My eye is so fucked. Whose fault was that?
Yeah.
She shows kind of like a day in the life content.
Day in the life of an online sluzzer. So today it's been a bit of a hectic morning. Get up, get ready, tidy and clean the apartment, and I just took my dog Maggie to daycare because I'm collabing.
But she also uses TikTok to recruit men to help her with her sex record breaking.
If you want to be a part of breaking a world record, I have now pinned a poster on my Twitter on how to apply to be one of the 1,000 guys to be with me in 24 hours.
So we know who Lily is, but let's talk a little bit about what she's done. In October of 2024, Lily Phillips slept with 100 men in one day. Now, the sheer logistics of achieving that alone is kind of hard to get your mind around. But in Josh Pieter's documentary, we see how it was done. And it is absolutely horrifying and shocking.
As the sort of brains behind this and managing the whole thing, how did you think it went?
Planning wise, a bit hectic.
For sure.
I didn't know what to expect. So many guys left it really last minute and we were getting messages today like, can I still do it?
Yeah.
But we had so many people drop out.
Yeah.
So when I was like going through like, yes, can you make it to London today?
Yeah.
And a lot of them were like, yeah, that's fine. We were just like scrambling to get guys. Yeah. So I was outside having a smoke with them all. We were just all talking and getting along, and then we come back in here and they've got the music on vibe and it was really nice.
How do you think Lily found it?
I think, do you know, I've not had the chance to speak to her too much. She's been in there all day.
Yeah.
And we've just like chucked her in the shower and like, she's exhausted. She's like, the first thing she said was like, I need a Nando's. I was like,
You've earned a Nando's.
Yeah, you've got the Nando's is ordered. She's took it like a champ. She's done so well. Every time I've said, are you okay? Do you need a breather? She's like, no, bring the next guy in.
Seeing 100 guys come to have sex with Lily in one day, was that like something that obviously...
That part didn't feel too intense. It was more checking in on Lily felt intense.
Yeah.
I haven't watched anybody else's response videos yet, and that is partially because I find that if I watch other people's opinion pieces on stuff, it can kind of like help me to form my opinion, and I wanted to give you like my off-the-cuff opinions. So these thoughts I'm giving now are my direct thoughts immediately after watching the video. I also did that because, I don't know, I just really wanted to like get on with talking about it and not get other people's thoughts in my mind. So this is like my, you know, I've just watched it and this is what I think. So this woman, Lily, slept with 100 strangers in one day, one of which had travelled all the way from Switzerland.
Yeah, I came last night, yeah. I came to you last night after work.
Oh, guys, we are running behind.
I got in at 6 o'clock this morning. Oh my God.
Just to have 5 minutes, and I mean exactly 5 minutes, she had a timer to have sex with her. I think there have been quite a few high-profile opinion pieces about this, and the documentary itself has over 7 million views. And the people on YouTube are outraged and shocked, and I really want to add my thoughts too because I am also outraged and shocked. I think the most disturbing thing about this documentary is the mental images that it brings up into your mind. Now, I am going to show lots of clips from the documentary, and we'll get into that in a minute, but when the actual stuff is happening, you don't see that part on camera, but you really don't need to, because it shows you more than enough to give you enough graphic mental images to fully understand what Lily is going through in the room. So Josh and his film crew show up to this random house in Notting Hill in London, which Lily's team have rented on Airbnb.
I feel a bit nervous going to this random Airbnb tomorrow for Lily to pull off the stunt, so I can't actually imagine how Lily must be feeling. This is where it's happening. I don't know where Lily and the gang are. Doesn't seem like anyone's actually here yet. One thing I can say is hidden in plain sight. It's not exactly where you'd expect someone to be having sex with 100 guys. It's 8:35. They were meant to be here at 8 a.m.
And there's literally a guy outside waiting to shag Lily when they get there.
They're nowhere to be seen. Do you guys want to get some cover? Just as we were starting to think the Queen of Southampton was right, and this was all a hoax, the first man arrived.
I guess I'm here for the thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a bit early.
I'm Josh, by the way.
Oh, hey.
Hey, nice to meet you.
I never really think about things before I do them.
Josh's team are told to leave before the action actually starts, but it doesn't really matter because we still see and hear more than enough to fully understand what's going on. And when Josh comes back into the house after the fact, Lily tells us exactly what happened. The men are ID checked, but they are not thoroughly STD checked whatsoever. There are so many things that I want to say about this video, but let's start by basically watching what Lily does. So, like I said, in October just gone, Lily's team rented an Airbnb in Notting Hill in London, and they essentially uploaded an open call for men to apply to come and have sex with Lily. All they had to do was show ID and arrive at the Airbnb and basically wait their turn for their 5 minutes with Lily. If it sounds simple, it's because it was. So this is a revolving door of men turning up, shagging Lily and leaving. Lily explains her routine and how she speaks to each guy and what she does when they come into the room.
Lily then walked us through the process that she had repeated 100 times that day.
Come on in, make yourself at home, take your shoes off. I've got some hangers here if you want to put your coat up. Nice. Come on in, where you travel from today? Oh, lovely. Yeah, oh, it's so nice to meet you. I'll get you on the bed, make yourself comfortable, take off your trousers, and we're going to have a fun time. And then I'll give them the phone camera. I'll just say, I'm guessing you don't want your face in it. Yeah. And if they don't, it'll be POV phone camera. Yeah. I'll start usually and then I'd say, like, is there anything you like, don't like, any certain position you want to do? Yeah. And then, yeah, we kind of got straight into it.
Did you do the with a condom on, or?
No, I didn't. Condom off.
Okay, but then like once they're having sex and it's like condom on type thing.
Yeah.
The way she describes this with this kind of like glazed look over her face is mental. It's like she's barely even present as it's happening. She does this same routine with each man 100 times over. 1 through 100, she sleeps with all of them. She performs oral sex on all of them. And when you just take a second to, like, I don't know, think about it, it's crazy. And I am going to talk in a second about feminism and, you know, and commenting on what other people do and all of that, and I will get to that, but just letting it like sink into your brain, like just picture it. She's in a room and one by one men come in and have sex with her, one after the other. She goes down on every single one of them without a condom, and she puts herself in that situation by choice. She chooses to do it. It's astounding to me that that could even be organised, that could even happen. It is like something out of a sex trafficking film. I'm kind of stepping on my future points, but yeah, it is crazy. During the section that I've just shown after the fact, Lily is showing Josh the room where it happened, and there's condom wrappers all over the floor, and apparently it smells really bad. The cameraman actually gags from the smell.
Holy
I guess you actually can. Is that real?
Yeah, he's not good with smells.
And something about that just really got to me. It's just vile. I feel kind of bad talking about it. I feel like maybe I'm going to come across judgmental, and I really don't mean to be. I'm really not judging Lily. I suppose I'm just judging the fact that this even happened. But I think if we're going to talk about this in a way that's helpful and constructive, we really need to understand and focus on Lily's feelings. So Lily says before the event that she's up for it. She makes it sound like it's something she wants to do. She calls it her fantasy.
I think other people in the industry definitely look down on me for doing this, but I think at the end of the day, people forget that it's also my fantasy. And this is also something that I'm really enjoying and want to do and have wanted to do before I was even in the industry.
The documentary shows Lily right before it's about to happen, when the reality of what she's about to do sets in.
I'm excited just to get the first one in. Yeah. Like, you know, you just like want it to start. It's like doing a race, like you just want it to start.
It's early in the morning to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
And 5 minutes each, right?
5 minutes each. Tries probably might do a little bit less time. I think there's about 8 of them. Okay. That's all I don't wanna keep them waiting too long.
Fine. Yeah. Just all the best.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's in her little black underwear, and we've seen the waiting room full of men who have just shown up from all over the place. And it's so eerie watching her close the door and knowing that she is about to be absolutely ran through by all of these men. Just feels so insanely wrong. It's like girl to girl, you just want to say to her, oh my God, Lily, you don't need to do this. Open the door, it's fine. It's not too late to say no. In the documentary, Josh shares his thoughts about leaving Lily behind.
Just as proceedings were about to commence, we were asked to leave. It was hard not to feel concern for Lily as we left the house. She seemed more apprehensive about what she was doing than she had done over the past few weeks. Perhaps the reality of the situation was beginning to dawn on her. It certainly was for me.
It was just weird. Like,
that's all I can describe it as. It's just so weird. Like, I think Lily seemed a bit more nervous than she seemed throughout this, but still, like, kind of up for it. I just cannot believe in the middle of this, like, super affluent suburb, this girl is about to just have a load of strangers, 100 strangers, in someone's Airbnb.
So now we have an idea of what Lily did. We still don't really understand why she did it, and I think it's important to try and establish that before we get into the analysis. So Lily says that this is her fantasy. She claims that it's something that she's always wanted to do. She doesn't really say why though, and I think that the why of it all is really important. Because she doesn't specify why she wants to do it, we're kind of left to theorise, and I've got two theories. The only real reasons I can think of why Lily would choose to do these things would be either for money or for attention, and the two kind of, you know, relate to each other, don't they? Money and attention. But I think those are really the only reasons why Lily might choose to do something like this. Looking at money first, it could be because of money. There's a section in the video where Lily shows Josh her OnlyFans earnings, and Josh says obviously it's a lot of money.
And can you give us like any indication as to what a more recent month might look like?
I'll just show you. I don't really want to say if that's okay.
I think it's more money than you might be imagining.
It's clear that she's making a mint. She's got 9 employees, which even if each of those employees work full-time on the minimum wage, we're still looking at nearly £200,000 a year just to pay those 9 people. And that's just one of her overhead expenses. So it's fair to assume that she's making hundreds of thousands of pounds, maybe even millions of pounds a year. But in my opinion, the fact that she's making so much money makes it less likely that she needs to do this. She's already making so much money. Why does she need to sell herself even further? I've got no problem with OnlyFans. I think women should crack on and do their thing. But there's something extreme about this which feels wrong to me. I am going to argue for why I think it's wrong in a minute. But I just don't think that any amount of money is really enough to make it worth it. She's making enough as it is. She doesn't need to do this. And yet she still does it. Also, she doesn't really make any money from doing it. Sure, she will profit from the video that Josh has made. I'm sure she's getting some money out of that. And of course, it will boost attention to her socials generally. But it's not like she wasn't making enough money as it was. And sure, it could just be greed, but I think there's something else at play. I think it's more of a, I don't know, almost like she wants the clout of having done it more so than actually wanting the money. So that brings me to the other potential reason why she might be doing it, which will be attention. I mean, this must be a massive factor. It's awkward because oftentimes in these videos, I've done loads of like academic research and I can bring you a study to kind of prove like why people do what they do or whatever. I haven't done that for this video because this is really just an opinion piece. I'm sure there must be some sort of connection between her upbringing, her childhood traumas, which has led her to wanting this kind of attention. I think the average person wouldn't, and it's certainly not healthy. There's a section in the documentary where Josh speaks with Alex, who's another OnlyFans model, and Alex says that she does think Lily is doing it for attention.
On Saturday, I'm going to another OnlyFans creator, Lily Phillips, is planning to sleep with 100 men in a single day for OnlyFans content. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's really sad. I just worry about her mental health. I'm hoping it's a hoax and it's not gonna actually happen. I don't know. From what I've seen of her, I think she's like young and beautiful. I don't think she has to sleep with 100 guys in one day for attention. I don't know. It's like medically, is she going to be in a lot of pain? Mentally, you're going to be known as the girl that 100 guys in one day, and I think that's really sad. The problem is that when you sign up to objectifying yourself, it's like you're signing a deal with the devil. Like, no one is going to see you as a human being. It gets to the point where everyone objectifies you. That's the reality of it. You're like the cash cow.
I think what Alex is saying here is totally true. There really is no need for Lily to reach out for this level of attention. God knows she gets enough attention as it is, right? And this documentary got over 7 million views, which is a significant amount of money. So financially it did do well, and one could argue that that might be why Lily did it. And we know the more extreme content is, the more views it will get and the more money it will make. But I just don't think it's a good enough excuse to do something so dangerous. And I really do feel that what Lily did in this video was dangerous, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But those two, money and attention, are kind of like my running theories as to why Lily would do this in the first place. During the documentary, she tries to convince Josh, and she tries to convince the viewers, I suppose, that she's doing it because she just loves having sex. But I really don't think that that's the case at all. If it is the case, then she's hiding it very well. She has gained loads of commentary, loads of press coverage. And the fact that she did this brought loads of traction to all of her social medias. But what I kind of want to know is, was it worth it? In the documentary, she talks about how her parents don't exactly know what she does specifically. But I wonder, once they found out, how would they have felt? I don't pretend to know the ins and outs, if you'll pardon the pun, of Lily's psyche. I can only comment on what I observe, and here is what I see. A young, beautiful, sweet girl who clearly had some kind of disappointment occur when she first had sex. In the documentary, when Lily is walking with Josh on the King's Road, she says,
Before I had sex, I was never much for... I actually wanted to wait till marriage at one point. I just used to think it was a real special thing. As soon as I actually did it and had, I kind of realised that it wasn't special, and also that I just really loved it and really enjoyed it, and that I wanted to do it way more often.
Just let that sink in for a second. Lily says, I used to think it was a special thing. As soon as I actually did it, I kind of realised it wasn't special. That's interesting to me. It's like she had high hopes for this sex thing to be meaningful and special before she did it, but when she actually did it, it didn't meet her expectations, and she kind of wrote it off and downgraded it in her mind to being this like meaningless thing. And she clearly does think it's meaningless. I mean, she'll do it with anyone. But I think when speculating about Lily's motives for doing this, we kind of have to consider this disappointment in what sex is. That's got to be part of the root of the issue. She admits that she had wanted to wait for marriage. Just to be clear, I absolutely don't support waiting for marriage. I don't believe in any of that crap. I'm not a prude in any way. It's just something about the fact that she shows candidly that she had this almost like disappointment in the way that she thought sex was going to be. She did it, she realised it wasn't like that the first time, and it made her think of it as nothing. And that's quite telling as to where her psyche is as a person, as to what sex means to her or doesn't mean to her. I think that is part of the issue, but there's another issue here, possibly one which is a bit of a tale as old as time, which is Lily clearly has self-esteem issues. I think she's been feeling objectified by men, and she claims that she's kind of like getting this power back by objectifying herself and then profiting off it. Listen to what she says here.
But my personal experience is I've only ever felt empowered by the fact that I'm making money off something that I think guys will do anyway. Like, guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well try and profit off that bit.
I mean, not all guys are going to sexualize you.
I don't really know. I think I mean, maybe not all guys, but a ton would. I mean, I'm like a part of the problem. It's so hard because like doing extreme stuff like this is not normal. Like, and I think then guys are probably going to expect girls to maybe be as strong as me and sleep with this many guys and take it up with us or do stuff like that isn't real life sex. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around.
But you do enjoy doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people forget it is my fantasy and this is what I enjoy. And so it's hard because you're like being selfish, but you're also not helping the situation.
She just said, guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well profit off that a bit, which is really interesting. So we know that Lily has felt objectified in her life, and her response to that is to say, well, I'm going to be objectified anyway, so I may as well make some money off it. But I don't know if that's the best response, to be honest. I can kind of see the logic of that, but I think that there's objectification that most women face in their day-to-day life, and then there's having permanent eye damage because so many men have spunked on your face. Look at this TikTok where Lily shows after a scene that she's genuinely hurt herself.
I've taken so much liquid in my eyes over the past month that it's now having a permanent effect on my eyes. This video was just the start of it. They were stinging so much here, but now they're so much worse.
And in Josh's video, Lily shows that her eyes are burning after what she's been doing.
And how are you feeling?
Surprisingly, downstairs is not really sore.
Okay.
It's more just tired. My eyes sting like nothing else.
Why?
Because of all the cum in it. I think I repeatedly said, you can come on my face, but not in my eye.
And they just went right at the eyes.
Well, I think like it might have been an accident. But no, I mean, I've definitely seen some spunk today, Jesus.
I mean, this is just sad, purely because the girl is hurting. She's actively chosen to do something which is causing herself physical injury. She is hurting herself, like physically hurting herself, and that's got to be wrong. I think it might sound like a good argument on paper, the whole well, I'm going to be objectified anyway, so I may as well make money out of it. But actually, I don't think that's a good argument at all. I think most women experience some kind of objectification in their life, and definitely as a group in society, women are objectified. And I can see how for some women it might be genuinely empowering to take that power back and make money and profit and make a good life for yourself and flourish off the back of that objectification. I'm not saying that that can't ever happen, but I really don't believe that that is what Lily is doing in this situation. I can see how for some women it might be a powerful, kind of like empowering, meaningful practice to make money off the thing that's been holding you back. But I think there are some key reasons why this is not what Lily's doing, and why what Lily's doing is actually dangerous, worrying, and not an act of female empowerment. And frankly, it's really, really sad. There are two reasons why I think this, and I'll break these down shortly and share my thoughts in later sections of this video. But the two reasons why, in my opinion, what Lily's doing here is wrong are these. Number one, throughout this documentary, she is unsafe and she is unhappy. These two things might be difficult to cover, and I might sound like I'm trying to take away Lily's freedom, but I'm not, and I just want to cover that point quickly now. So, I absolutely believe in the empowerment of women. I absolutely believe that women should be free to do whatever they like with their bodies. I don't want to slut shame. I think women should be allowed to sleep with whoever they want, whether that's loads of people, no one person, whatever. I'm not a prude by any means, and I absolutely would never slut shame. And I'm absolutely not trying to shame Lily. If Josh's documentary had shown Lily in a different light, then I wouldn't be making the argument that I'm making, and I think half of YouTube wouldn't hold the opinions that they hold. But I feel that this documentary showed something very, very sad and very, very dangerous. I think that this documentary showed that Lily was not only unsafe but also unhappy, and I will argue for both of those in a minute. I'm absolutely not arguing that in every possible situation where a woman may choose of her own free will to sleep with 100 men, that it would be wrong or dangerous for the woman, or that she shouldn't do it. I'm sure there are situations where I would argue, like, go for it, sis, you do you if that's what you want to do. It's not the principle of a woman doing this that I have a problem with. It's Lily's specific response. It's Lily specifically. It's when it comes to Lily Phillips and what this documentary shows, that is where the issue is. I do not think it was okay that this happened. I do not think it was okay that other adults stood by and let it happen. Not because women's bodies are some kind of untouched holy land, or because I believe it's fundamentally wrong for women to sleep with lots of men. I absolutely don't think that. I think in this situation it was wrong for Lily Phillips to do this because it wasn't done safely, and Lily was clearly hurt by the experience. I just think it's really important to put this disclaimer in because I know that this topic is really sensitive, and I could easily get misconstrued into sounding like I'm slut shaming, and I absolutely do not intend to be. I was saddened by what I saw. I was worried about Lily, and I feel that she deserves better. So here are my problems with what I watched in this documentary. As I've said before, the issues are it made Lily unsafe, it made Lily unhappy. I'm going to draw clips from the documentary as well as my own arguments to lay out my points now. I will start with it made Lily unsafe because that's more of a practical what the heck section, and I can yell a little bit about some of the ridiculous things I saw, and then we can get a little bit into how it made Lily unhappy, which to be honest is arguably just as bad if not worse. It made Lily unsafe. When I say it, I'm talking about the stunt, the fact that this happened, Lily sleeping with 100 men. I'm not talking about Josh filming it because Josh can't stop Lily. She was going to do it anyway. Him filming it I think actually was interesting and brought some kind of insight, and I don't have an issue with that. But the stunt itself, the fact that Lily and her team facilitated her sleeping with 100 men in one day in this manner, it was so unsafe. It made Lily so unsafe. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many issues. There's condom issues, there's STI issues, there's background checking issues. Okay, let's get into it. So the first way it was unbelievably unsafe is the way that the men were selected. The documentary shows hundreds of men applying to have sex with Lily. We can see how, as the team neared the event, it became clear that finding enough men was going to be a struggle. Despite how thick and fast the applications were coming through initially,
This is where the applications are coming through.
Where the guys are messaging. I had it switched off for a little bit, so it's just...
when it came time to actually take part, lots of the men dropped out or cancelled.
It is the night before Lily's big day. These girls don't seem very prepared. They're currently on their way to Newcastle, and then they're going to be coming back late tonight, and then Lily's going to sleep with 100 guys tomorrow morning, which seems mental to me. It doesn't seem like things are going great. There are a lot of guys cancelling. They're scrambling now to find people at the last minute. I don't understand how the guys they're scrambling to find at the last minute are going to get STI checks in time. I feel a bit nervous going to this random Airbnb tomorrow for Lily to pull off the stunt, so I can't actually imagine how Lily must be feeling.
Lily's team was scraping the barrel just to get enough men through the door. There's a chilling part where this is demonstrated, where one of Lily's members of staff, I don't know if it's her manager or her PA or whatever, is outside the house after the fact, and she's speaking with Josh's cameraman about how some of the men wanted to bring their friends. Listen to what she says.
Lily's PA gave us some more updates and promised us that they were nearly finished.
How far off is she from finishing?
Not far off at all. We're nearly done. We're nearly done. We've got a few people who have like gone home and then they've called us and like, can my friend come? I've just told him how sick it was. And we're like, yeah, bring it. Like, send your friend over.
I mean, that's just fucking awful. This woman is Lily's employee, sure, so maybe it's not her job to look out for her. She's not her mum. She's not Lily herself. But just the callous way she's like, yeah, bring your friend. Come and fuck this random girl in a house. It's so weird. It's so cold. It's just awful, in my opinion anyway. But the fact that they're allowing people to just grab their mate and come back shows how badly these men were selected. The men were not background checked whatsoever. Watch this section where Josh asks,
have you done anything to make sure there's not someone with a criminal record, for example, coming down?
And Lily's response is really worrying.
We actually have not, no.
Josh then asks,
do you feel safe?
Yeah. I mean, pretty sure I could take on some 50-year-old guy. No, I think it'll be fine. I'd like to think that guys aren't there to, I don't know what they would do anyway.
It is London, like you've put out a public call, so technically anyone could come down as long as they were over the age of 18.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd like to think someone won't go to that effort to put in their ID, drive there, you know. It's quite a big process for someone just to, I don't know, do something like that, maybe. I'm not really sure.
But she is entirely wrong here. Of course somebody would go to that effort. Look at the YouTuber Christina Grimmie, who was killed by a rogue fan. These things happen. These things happen particularly to sex workers. The fact that Lily thinks that she's safe and that this won't happen to her because no one would bother is ridiculous. Of course people would bother. That is exactly the kind of sick fuckery that people do bother to do. See an ad like that, see the desperation and the dodginess of the whole situation that a woman is even willing to do this in the first place, and then turn up and then exploit the situation. Of course it would happen. She's lucky that it didn't happen. It's so scary that anything could have happened in that room. Yeah, sure, they have 2 security guards, and there's a section where Lily's staff say how grateful they are that they've got the security guards.
I actually can't believe we were going to do this without security. They've been
so helpful.
Absolutely amazing. Like, I could kiss them both. They've been so good.
But if you listen to what I just played, she says, I can't believe we were going to do this without security. They were going to do it without security? What the hell? Like, are you crazy? The fact that they were even considering doing this without security is fucking insane. Lily was so vulnerable in that room. Anything could have happened. In the before section where one of her staff members brings a baby monitor into the room, it's so eerie.
No, I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Just putting a baby monitor in here so I can keep an eye on you.
The potential physical danger that Lily was in during that was so astronomical. It's shocking. I think that's one of the most shocking things about this. Just the fact that she was in the room, she was there, she told everyone she would be there, and there she was. She was willing to have sex with any man that went into that room. She was going to shag any man who walked into that room. That is so scary. It's scary because it could have been anyone. Anyone could have come in, they could have had weapons, they could have had drugs, they could have been intoxicated themselves and thus not able to consent and she wouldn't have known. They could have had any kind of intent. And I know, sure, there are people outside that were listening. It does not take very long to stab someone. It does not take very long to choke someone. There are sick fucks out there who would have exploited that situation.
The whole thing, I think I'm realizing, is actually more mental than we originally thought. There are 100 men turning up to have sex with her for 5 minutes each in a single day. I mean, there's a decent chance that one of them is going to be dangerous. One of them might have a weapon, have a criminal record. A few of them will have STIs. I can just on a basic statistic, you can know that a few of them are going to have STIs. So let's just hope those condoms are good ones.
And the fact that Lily herself, but not only her, all of her staff, don't even bat an eyelid and they're okay with this happening, it's insanity. So this clip where Lily says, I'd like to think someone wouldn't go to that effort. Yeah, she might like to think that.
I'd like to think that guys aren't there to, I don't know what they would do anyway.
She can think what she likes, but she would be wrong. People would go to that effort. So Lily's safety was in danger because of the truly random men who turned up at this event.
One of the men participating agreed to speak with us after having spent his allotted 5 minutes with Lily. He had flown in from Switzerland just for this.
So I came last night and I'm leaving basically after. I went for the authentic experience.
Okay.
I had pie.
Pie,
Yeah,
British
in the
pie,
pub,
pie
yeah.
and mash.
Yeah.
How long have you known or been a fan of Lily Phillips?
Since the beginning, I would say.
Did you ever think you'd be able to have sex with her?
No, never.
And today you did?
Yes.
Were you nervous this morning going in there?
Yes, especially when I saw all the guys, the queued.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was definitely nervous.
Were you worried that maybe some of the other guys aren't going to get an STI check? Or?
A little bit, but also I think the risk for the guys is maybe less high than for her. This has to be the most expensive shag ever.
Really?
Yeah.
How much?
200 to get tested, 250 for the flight, maybe 800.
800 pounds, and worth it?
Yes, yes, without a doubt.
I mean, that whole section is just crazy. But not only did they not properly vet the guys, the whole thing was insanely poorly managed. They arrived to the house late, they only sent the address of the house to the guys that morning, and when it kicked off, so many men cancelled that they were worried that they weren't going to be able to do it. They were literally grasping at straws for any men who would come and shag Lily. I'm genuinely surprised they weren't standing on the street with a fucking sandwich board and a bell trying to drum up business. As an aside here as well, I am giving quite a lot of stick to the people who planned this, so Lily's staff and Lily herself to an extent, but also I think some stick needs to land at the door of the men who took part. Imagine seeing an advert like this and then signing up for it, sending your details and your ID, actually turning up in London to a random house, and then in fact actually shagging a random girl that you don't know. You might be the 57th, 58th, 59th, you might be the 95th, you might be the 100th guy that this girl has shagged in one day. Surely you can see that you are a sick fuck for taking part in that. I honestly think shame on the men who took part in this. I understand why none of them showed their face in the documentary. If you happen to be one of those guys and you're watching this, fuck you. You should be embarrassed. I cannot believe that people actually did this. They actually turned up at a random house in the middle of London. They went in, they signed the fucking NDA, and they queued up like a bunch of fucking pervs and had sex with this poor, vulnerable girl. Honestly, it is like something out of a Taken movie. It is sex trafficking. It's not because she gave her consent, but it looks a lot like sex trafficking, and I am not okay with it. I think it is so fucking wrong. I don't know what the commentary is like. I don't know if people are saying this, but this is my opinion. Those men should be fucking embarrassed. I'm amazed they even wanted to do it. The part towards the end of the video where they mention the smell in the room.
Lily offered to show me the aftermath of their stunt.
Oh, it stinks.
What does it smell like?
Like brace yourself. Brace yourself. Oh.
Can you imagine if you're like the 85th guy, you go into the room, not only is the floor covered in condoms, this poor fucking haggard girl is there covered in other people's cum, and you're about to fuck her for the 86th time. I couldn't even, I mean, I don't have a penis, but I couldn't imagine getting hard. I couldn't imagine being in the mood. I think surely it would put them off. There is a section where Lily talks about how she thinks guys might be put off. I'll put that here.
Are you going to kiss any of the guys?
Definitely. I feel like some of them would be a bit put off, especially when they know I've just had like 57 guys inside me or whatever.
Why do you think that would put them off?
I think it's more if someone's to my face. I can imagine that's what's put another guy off.
So you would let like these guys do that on your face?
Yeah.
And in your mouth?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, they are just exploiting the crap out of this girl who is working her arse off in this bedroom for hours and hours, taking load after load. They spoke to one guy after the event who shares his thoughts, and you can see that this guy is shaking.
We were able to speak to another man as he left the Airbnb, although he seemed shaken by the experience.
How are you feeling?
It's not something I'd normally do, but I saw it. I feel much wrong.
Yeah.
I think I saw it and I just thought, fucking might as well just do it.
And like, how long did you get with her?
Well, she said 5 minutes, and then halfway through, she said she hadn't started the timer, so she said like 5 minutes from now. Which was all right.
So you got some extra?
Yeah, it was an extra time.
Do you know how many guys had gone before you?
No idea.
Yeah, like, is that one?
Well, yeah, but I don't really know. You know, I just thought...
Are you happy you did it?
A little bit. I'm just a bit nervous, really, if anyone find out. My dad would kick me out straight away.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's shaking because of what he's just been through, but look at how much this guy is shaking. Like, it's really weird. I'm shaking out of anger right now just from speaking about this. There's a part later in the documentary where you can see Lily's staff talking about how some of the guys wanted to come back and have another try because they didn't perform properly.
There were a couple of guys that Joe messaged me like, oh, I didn't really perform well, can I come back? And we've been like, yeah, that's fine. And they've just like come back.
Oh, really?
Redeemed themselves.
No wonder they couldn't perform. I can't imagine being able to perform in that kind of environment, let alone the pressure of being the 65th guy, let alone the fact that she sets a literal 5-minute timer. I mean, how are you supposed to get hard? How are you supposed to be in the mood? I don't know. This stunt also made Lily massively unsafe because of the horrendous attitude that she has towards STIs. If you are a sex worker, you need to be clued in on how STIs transmit. And unfortunately, Lily was not. Watch this.
So you would let like these guys do that on your face?
Yeah.
And in your mouth?
Yeah.
What if they had HIV?
Is that where it comes from? With spunk in the mouth?
It can.
The comments under this video went insane over this. And I did too. Just the way she says, is that where that comes from? It's worrying. And just to clear up any misinformation, according to the WHO website, HIV can be passed through bodily fluids, so it is true that you could catch HIV through doing this. I'm not trying to increase stigma, and there are fantastic drugs out there now, which means that people with HIV can be undetected and can live normal, healthy lives, which is brilliant. We don't all need to be out here terrified of catching HIV and worsening that stigma. But it is worth noting here that HIV absolutely could have been passed in this situation. I don't want to insult Lily, but it is essential that if you're going to be carrying out this kind of behaviour, and if you're going to continue working in this industry, which obviously she is going to do, then you need to know how to protect yourself from these things. When Lily asked earlier in the video, well, what would somebody want to do to me? Or, you know, I don't think anybody would bother to go out of their way to hurt me. Passing HIV is one of the ways that somebody could have done this. It could happen, it has been known to happen, where people with HIV will purposefully go out and pass it on because they're angry about the fact that they have it. I'm not saying it's common, I'm not saying it's likely, I'm just saying it's possible. And as a public figure with a massive following, God knows what kind of creeps might be following her. She was in so much danger when she was in that room. I really can't get over it. One top comment says, imagine being a sex worker and not knowing the ways a person can contract HIV. Absolutely true. I am kind of astounded that she didn't know that, but you know, I'm not here to shame her knowledge, but she needs to get to know. Another comment says, my stomach dropped when she says, is that where it comes from, when she was asked about HIV. Yeah, I mean, it is worrying that she didn't know that. It is Lily's job to protect herself from contracting STIs, and in my opinion, she and her team did not do their due diligence in this instance. We know this because she says in the documentary.
And then you're checking that they've done an STI test?
Yeah, so prioritising guys who have STI tests.
She says she's prioritising guys who have a negative STI test, not that she won't sleep with ones that don't have a test.
They have to screenshot the results kind of thing. But this is the thing with it, like you can never 100% know if they've had an STI test, and even if they had, they could have slept with 10 girls in between the test and things like that. It's more just like, you know what you're getting involved in if you're willing to participate.
Plus, the way we hear her staff speak later outside the house, where we see that they were encouraging guys to bring their friends.
We've got a few people who have like gone home and then they've called us and like, can my friend come? I've just told him how sick it was. And we're like, yeah, bring it. Like, send your friend over.
It's clear that they weren't checking everybody's STI tests. And it's just so concerning that these people who are hired by Lily have morals which are so far into the fucking toilet that they can't step up and say, hang on a second, boss, what if you catch chlamydia? It's nuts. There is, of course, just the physical toll that it would take on your body to sleep with this many people. She says to Josh that she performs oral sex on each one.
I'll start usually with a
That's 100 blowjobs. She talks about how she has stingy eyes, which she's already covered.
My eyes sting like nothing else.
Why?
Because of all the cum in it. I think I repeatedly said, you can come on my face, but not in my eye.
And they just went right at the eyes.
Well, I think like it might have been an accident.
I mean, that image alone is just sad. No one is looking out for this woman. Nobody is standing beside her and saying, you know what, hun, how about you don't shag fucking 100 men? And I know, the argument from her family, her staff, whoever the fuck else watches this on the internet and goes, she can do what she wants, she's a free woman, you know, you're not a feminist, you're saying she shouldn't be allowed to do what she wants. Or if people say, she wanted to do it, it's her fantasy, it's her choice, whatever. Here's what I have to say to that. She can say what she likes, but her actions and her body show the truth. The way Lily reacts is absolutely heartbreaking. We're going to get to it. So this is my second reason for thinking that what happened here was wrong. Not only did it make Lily unsafe, It made Lily unhappy. Now, as I've just shown, Lily's physical safety was absolutely put at risk during this stunt. But more than just her physical safety, perhaps even more importantly than that, is her mental safety. Now, I have to say here that Lily claims to be happy with her decision. She calls doing this her fantasy.
I don't think people realise, like, how happy this makes me.
But we see in this section Josh telling Lily that he doesn't believe her when she says that she wants this.
I can't really explain it. I get like serotonin, like from when people are like, oh my God, you're that on the internet. Sounds crazy.
I know, and I know you're saying that to me right here, but I don't believe that.
Really?
No.
I really like and respect how Josh is quite kind in the way he speaks to Lily, but he still says what we're all thinking, which is that there's no way that this really makes her happy. Lily argues that it does. As the documentary nears the moment of truth where the first guy is about to go into the room, we see Lily become shaky and express that she just wants it to start. But what I hear here, if I'm honest, is that she just wants it over with.
I'm excited just to get the first one in.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just like want it to start. It's like doing a race, like you just want it to start.
It's early in the morning to be having.
Yeah, it is.
And 5 minutes each, right?
5 minutes each. Might do a little bit less time. I think there's about 8 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to keep them waiting too long.
Fine.
I could be wrong, and I know that I'm not Lily and I don't know how she really feels, but I think that despite Lily claiming that she wanted this to happen, when Josh comes back after the event, Lily shows a very different story.
I think it was when it was only like 40 and I was like, I'm not even halfway yet.
Yeah.
And 40 is still a lot of people. Like, imagine 40 people and be like, I'm not even halfway, like, done.
Watch this.
It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
it's interesting how she compares it to being a prostitute, because to be honest, that's exactly what it's like. But we can see from her reaction afterwards that it's not what she thought it was going to be. And in a minute, you're going to see her cry about it, which is just so sad.
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out. Like, it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry. It's okay. It's okay. Just take
yeah, 1 minute.
The way she walks out of the room after crying and saying that it was intense is quite telling, I think. Here is a young, sweet woman who's chosen to allow this to happen to her, and it looks like the truth of what it was really like is weighing down on her in this moment. And sure, it's possible that she actually is happy with her choices, and she's crying because she's just tired and overwhelmed, and she is in fact still pleased with what she's done, but I just don't really believe that, and here's why. I believe that although Lily claims that she does this because she wants to and for herself, what she actually expresses in this documentary when she speaks with Josh is a desire to please the men. She expresses concern that the men won't enjoy themselves before the event happens.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm nervous for is like for them to have a good time. I want to make sure they enjoy themselves and don't come away from it like, oh, I feel disgusted or that wasn't fun.
So we can see from this comment that she's concerned that the men won't enjoy it, but I say, what about her? I think that this desire that she expresses for the men to have fun is touching more so on the real reason that she's doing this. This is emphasised again after the fact. When she's speaking with Josh and she's crying, she talks about how she felt pressure to give the men a good time, to get them to finish, and to make them feel that their journey was worth it. But there's no commentary on her, no commentary on whether she got off, whether she enjoyed it.
I guess the interactions when like, I'd have to stop them early and like, you'd have to stand on business and be like, I'm so sorry you got to go. And like the awkward interaction of like you feeling pressure to have to make them come if like you haven't spent enough time with them and feeling like you didn't give them a good time because like they only got 2 minutes.
The bit where she says she feels pressure to make them come, and the way her voice breaks a little bit when she says that, my God, it's so sad. It looks to me like she really does think that this is all she's good for. I'm reminded of the joke that she makes at the beginning of the documentary.
So this is probably going to taste like shit because I don't really know how to make it, but just good for one thing, me, honestly.
Maybe she really does believe it. The way that she's stressing that she won't give these men a good time is mad to me. I feel like reaching through the screen, grabbing her and shaking her and saying, fuck those guys, or don't fuck those guys. What about how you're feeling? What about what this is doing to you? And when she goes on to explain the interactions that she has with some of these guys when she felt rushed to get it over with.
And that's what's making you feel emotional, is that maybe you think you didn't give some guys a good enough time today?
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish? I've come all this way. Like, kind of like guilt tripping me a little bit. I felt bad, like, some people just travel so far, like, I didn't want to give them a shit time and, like, come away from this and be like, oh, that was shit.
The fact that she's having these sorts of conversations with these blokes is so scary. She's been used like a fucking rag doll, and these guys still only care about getting off. It's so horrible. I think that she's put pressure on herself to please these men. I can't help but ask myself, why would she do this? Why would she care? I think there must be a deep-rooted self-esteem issue going on here. A lot of this really got to me, but one of the parts that really got to me was in this documentary. We know that Lily was giving herself trauma in that room, because look at this part where she says,
I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal things at all. In my head right now I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember, and that's it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Like if I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, you know.
And no, Lily, it's not normal sex. It's like being an orifice for a lineup of men who just want to use you as a hole to get off.
I think that was kind of the hard part, is like conversing with them, and like when they'd kind of be like, oh, like we've only had 2 minutes or 3 minutes and you said 5 on the message.
Did someone say that to you?
Yeah. And obviously it just makes me feel so bad.
Do you think you should feel bad about that?
I guess when you've promised something to people who support you, it's kind of hard to let them down.
But it's up to you, right? Like when you know.
Yeah.
Have you even processed, do you think, what's happened?
Not yet. God, I won't forget this day, Jesus.
A comment under the video says this: you know, you just start to disassociate. Babe, that's called your brain and body trying to protect you from trauma. And it's true that disassociation occurs during trauma. One quick Google can show us this. On the Psychology Today website, it says, disassociation is a psychological defense mechanism that can occur when an individual is faced with overwhelming or traumatic experiences. It involves a disconnection or detachment from one's own thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. The fact that Lily says that during this event she disassociates, it's so worrying. I'm getting upset filming this because as a survivor of SA myself, I know how that disassociation that can occur will go on to affect you in the rest of your life. It's not something that just happens once and it's like, yeah, whatever. You can ignore it and you can crack on and be okay. But the truth is, what happens in your brain when you disassociate that way is so bad. It's so bad for you. And it's the fact that she's choosing to do it. She's allowing it to happen. She's doing it to herself. Nobody else who's standing around is stopping it from happening. And we know from her saying this that she's hurting herself by letting this happen. There's nothing we can say but admit that it was completely wrong. It was completely wrong that this happened. Like I said before, if Lily had finished this whole thing and during that post-match debrief with Josh, she was like, hell yeah, that was so fun. I loved it. It was really good. I really enjoyed myself. If she had that kind of response, then I think the internet would have had a different response to her. But it's because she showed that vulnerability and the way that it hurt her. That's why we can all be so sure that what we're watching in that video is so terribly wrong and shocking. There is enough in this documentary for me to feel pretty comfortable in saying that she absolutely should not have done what she did. Not because of any bullshit slut-shamey reasons, but purely because she clearly made herself unsafe and she clearly made herself unhappy. And I think that is the crux of it. It's just so sad. So we're going to have a brief section here for the comments that have been left under the YouTube video. If you'd have told me that this was going to happen, that this video was going to be uploaded and that YouTube was going to react, and you asked me to predict how do I think YouTube would handle it, I can honestly say that I would not have expected the response that there has been. I would have thought there'd be far more people who were saying, you go girl, live your truth, do your thing, and also lots and lots of people just straight up slut shaming. What I didn't expect was kind, nuanced comments, which were on the whole really mature and showed real concern for this young woman. In truth, I think the comments are really quite kind to Lily. People can obviously see in the video that she's suffering, and people just want to get through to her. Here are a few comments which I thought were interesting. Her ability to convince herself that this is what she loves to do broke my heart, because it's so clear that she's just crying out for someone to love her. That was an interesting one. I mean, yeah, definitely I feel like throughout the video, Lily is really trying to convince Josh, not very successfully, and convince us, the viewers, that she wants this, that she loves sex, that she's into it. But I think it's very clear that she doesn't really mean it. And purely just how she feels afterwards, I think it's really true that, you know, she was trying to convince us that this is what she wanted, but I don't think it is what she actually wanted. Another comment says, she's talking about how people think so much less of her because of her job, but there is no one on the planet who thinks less of her than herself. This is heartbreaking. Again, very true. I think it's a self-esteem issue first and foremost. Another comment says, this comment section was surprisingly mature, which is true. And then we have this comment stack here, which again, I thought was insightful. And it's interesting how these comments all happen to sit together. These comments are, the PA giggling and saying she took it like a champ is so sick. The whole thing is absolutely vile. Her mother manages her finances. Let that sink in. Yeah, that's another thing I heard. Apparently her mother manages her finances. That's kind of concerning. The saddest part is that not one person around her said, maybe you shouldn't do this. And it's true, that one hits home like crazy. The fact that nobody said, babe, what the hell are you doing? It's crazy that no one thought to say this to her. And I think this is being allowed to happen under this kind of like sick pseudo-feminism, where it's like, she's a free woman, you can't tell her what to do, she can do what she wants with her body. But the thing is, that's a slippery slope of an argument. She can be so free to do what she wants with her body that she could go and jump off a bridge, but somebody around her should be stopping her from doing that, surely. One final comment I want to highlight under Josh's video is this one. She seems absolutely broken at the end. Doesn't recommend it, but now she's talking about doing 1,000 in a day. She's got a lot to unpack. And this is of course true, because Lily is now campaigning to find 1,000 men to sleep with in a 24-hour period.
I spent 14 consecutive hours getting ran through, and now I'm going to be doing 24, because I'm going to be going for the world record early February next year. I'm going to go for 1,000. Girls, please send your husbands and boyfriends my way. I really need them to help break this world record of being with 1,000 guys in 24 hours. Now, I've just pinned the poster on how to apply, so please send them my way.
Clearly, she hasn't learned her lesson from how she felt the first time. Listen, I understand that there's money to be made, and I understand that she wants to have a bite of the pie, and I think she should. She's entitled to it. But I don't think that these extreme videos where she sleeps with more and more men at once is doing her any good in the long run. It's putting her in danger physically, it's putting her in danger mentally, and I just hope that she gets herself into therapy, because I think that's where this needs to all be unpacked. She needs to work out why she feels the need to do this, and assess whether it really is the right thing for her, because it looks like she's hurting herself, to be honest. I would hate to see her catch an STI or put herself in physical danger, or give herself long-term trauma, which she may be dealing with for life. And I have a feeling that that is what she's doing here. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments about all of this. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now. I've decided that I'm going to leave a little post-video debrief at the end of this video, just kind of unedited. Sorry, I've moved away from the microphone. Just kind of unedited. Here are just a few thoughts now that I've filmed the video, I've read the script, I've said the things I wanted to say. I'm so upset. I'm so upset because I just feel like when I watch this video, and I think this is a universal response to this documentary, and if you don't watch it, I'd recommend going to watch it because it's powerful in a horrible way. It's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking that this girl did this. It's not heartbreaking because it's wrong. You know, sleep with whoever you want. I truly don't give a fuck. I really don't. It's something about the way that you can see her hurting herself. It's funny because it's actually weirdly relevant. I was going to say this is a bit of a weird topic for me to talk about based on my other videos, but actually it's kind of relevant because it goes into that whole like SH comment in a way, doesn't it? Filming yourself being hurt on camera for money is happening. It's rampant, it's happening, and this is a video of it happening to this poor girl. I don't know, you know, maybe I'm victimizing her. I do want to actually unpack this a little bit. It's possible that I'm infantilizing her, I'm victimizing her in a way, and I'm making her out to be this like damsel in distress. This is this awful thing, you know, and maybe she was just crying at the end because she was tired. Maybe she was overwhelmed. I'm sure she was overwhelmed. The pressure of doing what she did must have been a lot for her to take. But I still just, I don't know, you know, I admit that maybe I'm projecting my own feelings onto her. She might have loved it, but I don't think she did. And I think that there is some objective nature. I don't know, maybe I don't know if I really believe this, but I think maybe there is some objectiveness, some objective wrongness about shagging 100 people in a day. I don't believe in an intelligent design. I don't believe that there's any, you know, we're meant to do it a certain way. Sure, we're animals and animals shag, you know. But I think that it's the damage. It's the damage it's causing her. It's the damage that you can see on her face at the end of it. It's the way she sat alone eating on her own at the end of the video. It's the way that she's been exploited, in my opinion, for money. And what it really is, you know, it's when she's an older woman, when she gets older, when she wants to get married, when she has children of her own, when she settles down, there's a very good chance that she's going to have trauma that she's going to have to deal with because she chose to do this. And I know the fact that she did it to herself may well be a factor for her. And I think that's just really sad. Could I be wrong? Could it be that she's a free, independent woman? You know, it's her body, it's her choice. This is her being the absolute biggest feminist in the world because this is what she wanted and she did it. Maybe. I think it's just the fact that the documentary shows her in a light that she didn't want this. When she had in fact done it, she realised that it was difficult and there were parts of it that weren't good. And I think that just doesn't sit right. Watching somebody suffer in that way when, you know, when they've hurt themselves. I don't know. Maybe I'm willing to die on the hill that it was the wrong thing for her to have done. Anyway, I wish her all the best. I wish her all the healing. I hope she finds a fantastic therapist. God knows she can afford to pay for it. I hope that she doesn't shag 1,000 men in February like she says she's going to. But if she does, then I hope she's safe. I hope she's taking STI tests. I hope that the penis of every single one of those 1,000 men falls off. I don't really mean that, but I do think that there needs to be some sort of comeuppance for these men. I don't know. Maybe the thoughts are becoming jumbled and wild now, but yes, that's where we are. So everyone pray for Lily Phillips and pray for me after making this video because I'm feeling triggered. Although don't actually pray for me because there's no one listening. Oh, life is weird. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm going now.